Hi, I'm Ellie from crystallinks.com, and I'm here today to talk about being a teacher. In our own way, we are all students and teachers. I think that's part of the journey of why we came here initially. When I talk about and think about teaching, I think of the many different phases of teaching that I experienced in my lifetime. When I was a child, the children on my block seemed to be like 2 or 3 years younger than me, and I would automatically became their teacher because I was older than them. Then I went on. I graduated college at 20, had a master's at 21, and went on to become an elementary school teacher and eventually a high school teacher. In the interim of that, I also stayed home and raised my children and was a teacher in my own right to them because I was a full-on mom who enjoyed and loved doing all the projects with the children, whether it was making a simple collage or being involved in some project, a citywide project, whatever it was. I just enjoy learning and knowledge. Now, here's why I wanted to talk about this. I have never been one who likes to read books. I don't. I know you're going to say, oh, I love books. I love ebooks. I love books. That's cool. We're all different. We're all the way our brain is programmed. I am a visual learner. It took me till I got on the internet to get that and really understand that I learn best. I can learn more by watching a YouTube explanation of something in science or whatever than sitting and looking at science books or psychology books and everything I had to take in university and go, I don't get this. I didn't cut school because I liked the professors with their visual aids and everything else making a presentation, and I remembered it. When I went into teaching myself, I always looked for the visual aids because that's the nature of learning to me, is visual. You may find that you are the same way, that you enjoy and can absorb information better by seeing it visually in one form or another, as opposed to sitting and reading a book. There's nothing wrong with that. I have friends in publishing and I wrote my own book and I think that's very cool. But I just like the animation. I just like the special effects. I just love all of that. But in becoming a teacher, teaching is not what it was today or last year or when my children were growing up or when I was a teacher or even when I was a little girl. Tools and techniques have greatly improved. We've got the computers now. One of my daughters teaches gifted children, and everyone has a computer. The school offers the children computers to use while they're in school, which makes me greatly happy. I wish I could have had that, It's not just how the children are learning, it's also what's specific to the specific needs of the children. You can't teach children today the same topics in the same manner and for the same results as when I was in school 100 years ago. I'm going to be 74 now. So that was a long time ago. And you can't expect children to take an interest, to like the subject areas, to like these things. If I had my way, I would love to get down into core curriculum. There are certain things that maybe children should learn, a little history never hurt anyone, some science, but not everybody's brain is programmed to that. And if they reach a stage, we always say, well, what happens when they get older and they need this information? They'll find it. They'll find it online. They'll figure it out. People are very resourceful. When they have to learn something nowadays, they will figure it out. Back in the old days, no. Back in the old days, if you didn't learn it in a certain specific way that I was taught and I taught as a teacher, that was it. You didn't learn it. That was it. It had to be done specifically. Things are so much better now, but I would take the education system. I wish I had this chance, It's almost like I want to write to Donald Trump and that woman who's going to be head of education who wants to deal with core curriculum and just say, why don't we do it this way? Different children have different needs. We all have reached an understanding that our brains are programmed differently. We see the world differently. There's a lot of autistic children, and whereas when I was a teacher and I taught autistic children, and that's no easy task, the umbrella for autism was limited. Now that umbrella has so many spokes. It's so multifaceted and growing. Some children who are diagnosed autistic and mainstream in by 5 and 6 years old. So you have to go by the changing, not only the changing academic needs of students, you have to go by the consciousness level of students, the consciousness level of the kids who are coming up today, not the autistic ones, everybody. It's not the same. They are more aware, their minds. I mean, the kids who graduate school with these high averages, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal how well developed their brains are, how quickly they learn. I like fast learning. I'm not a slow learner. I just like visuals, but I like to learn and do everything very quickly. So to me, it's like, okay, you show it to me. There it is on YouTube or screen or wherever I'm going to see it, and I'm going to learn it, boom, 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 and then I'm going to move to the next. Everything I have on Crystal Links, which a lot of it is not visual, that's why I do a lot of pictures on Crystal Links, I guess, for that reason, is to move the knowledge faster and faster and faster. I don't go back to the old topics and the old subjects. I know people like to, when they're drawn to explore all the archaeological stuff and all the old sciences and all the old mythologies and histories. And these are great topics. I mean, they're out there. Everybody's programmed to learn something new and different. To me, the newer, the better. I just look forward to science and technology moving us faster and faster and faster, because in truth, time is moving faster, reality is moving faster, everything is moving faster, and I just realized I'm talking faster too. So if we're going to get faster and faster, okay, we need children whose brains have come in not to live the lives you have and I have, but something more, something different, something they're programmed to. The brain learns when not just being challenged, it learns when it's motivated. That's when the brain learns. Children do not want to study topics that mean nothing to them and never will. They want to study things that will help them spiritually, financially later on. Let's get to high school, build a career. I'm a big believer in all these private schools, charter schools. Homeschools depends on who's doing the homeschooling. I used to be totally opposed because I think children need to socialize within their peer group. But homeschooling has changed. It's not the homeschooling of the days of yesterday. Homeschooling is improving, and most parents that I read whose children are homeschooled, they take their children after their homeschooling day and integrate them with other children for arts or sports and theater and other things. So the children are going with other children. I mean, just keeping a child home because you're afraid some shooter's going to come in and do this, no. That's not a reason. That's your own emotions. The emotional package faced by both teachers and students today, is astronomical. There are students who are dangerous, but when I taught in high school, you think it was any different? It wasn't. When I taught in high school, there were emotionally challenged students who would come to school with weapons. And I never had an incident, thank God for that, but there were a lot of incidents, there were a lot of things that happened in the high schools, okay? Today, it happens quicker and faster. And students today who are frustrated with life, they can be high school level or college age, even though they're not in college, they might just be college age students. They're frustrated. Their emotions are flogging their ability to learn, because we are here primarily to learn and study, and they're going postal. They are doing acts of violence. Who's going to stop it? Really, nobody is. I mean, it's just the way it is. What I teach, of course, is that we live in a holographic illusion. This is what I teach now. I didn't teach it back in the day. My God, they would have fired me in a heartbeat. But what I teach now on Crystal Links is that we live in a holographic illusion. Had a beginning, has an end. Time itself is the illusion. Everything is experience happening simultaneously, and you can read about it on the internet, books, go to YouTube, read about it on Crystal Links. But our reality, this is what I came here to teach. It took all these generations for me to finally say, people are ready to hear this and learn this, from the physicists, from the billionaires, from the everyday people, from the clients who come here and tell me, I always knew that this isn't right. I always knew that this isn't real. Other people will tell me, reality as we know it is changing so rapidly, and that they don't have to learn it, they just know it intuitively. A lot of the information is not just taught, it's just remembered by your intuition. And a lot of people will just tell me, I've known since I was a child that one day this is going to end, or none of this is real, or my family has backgrounds that goes back to indigenous people, because I've read people from all walks of life, and they taught us, that one day, that you can call it a prophecy, whatever, one day this is all going to change and it's going to end, and so forth. So we are constantly paying attention and learning and trying to figure out, where is our passion? What are we here for? We're here to learn and study and deal with emotions. We live in an electromagnetic energy grid, consciousness grid system. And because it's electromagnetic, which keeps us in 3D, even though our souls are having experiences elsewhere, but because it's electromagnetic, it's your north and your south, okay? And it makes it bipolar, which means we're forever seeking, the yin and the yang to meet, and the balance between the two. But by the very nature of the creation of this reality, it is bipolar, and it will always inject negativity into the best of situations, which is very unfortunate. But on the upside, based on my days of teaching as of late, you look around. As a teacher, I can tell you, you can look around at the natural disasters, the climate changes, the political scene, and say, this is all orchestrated. Everything that is happening is surreal to me. It's like, how could this have happened? It doesn't fit into the mechanisms and the design of what we are used to, or what used to happen. But as a teacher, I can tell you, it is all going somewhere. And how much time this reality has, time is an illusion. So I can't tell you January 1st, 2018, kaboom. There is no time. People, all the prophecies that said this date, this date, this date, no. They were wrong. They were all wrong. They tried, these prophets or whatever. You don't need prophets anymore. You're a teacher in your own right, whether you're teaching adults or children, no matter what, or teaching yourself. You are a student, you are a teacher, and you have great intuition, because intuition goes with all of this. So you take that intuition that you have and you say, well, I've heard what Ellie says, I've studied this, I've looked at that. Maybe I have it here in the mind, maybe as yet I don't have it in the soul, but that's cool, that's okay. But I'm open. Always stay open. A teacher always stays open to new challenges, new learning, new things. That's the only way you're going to grow. Your brain is going to grow. Your experience is going to grow. To be judgmental, we're all conspiratorial nowadays with everything going on with Donald Trump becoming president. It's, we're all into one conspiracy theory or another. But the bottom line is the hologram has orchestrated everything to happen the way it is. It is not by accident. We're in the age of technology. Some people say reverse engineering, aliens, UFOs from the 1940s, or a little before, or a little after. Whatever theory works for you. It doesn't matter, because your brain is being triggered and charged, and it's thinking and it's processing and it's thinking, well, maybe there's truth to all of this. Just know that everything is moving very, very quickly toward a final destination and goal. And as your teacher for these 15 minutes, I thank you for listening, and I hope you keep an open mind to everything. Follow things, but don't put too much emotion to it. Just say, okay, whatever works, whatever my brain says works. Bye.